Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and aliens to Project Edenastra, the speculative evolution project where we combine multiple speculative evolution projects into one massive Eden. The first season will focus on Reality 1, and today's chapter is going to talk about the setting itself, as well as the initial organisms that were seeded here. But before we continue, there is a small thing I have to tell you about. And no, it is not a sponsor. I'm too small of a channel to even have those. The entirety of Edenastra is a simulation. There are no real planets, no real stars, no real life. Everything you see here is digitally calculated. This is because this way the realities of Edenastra can have factors that would be downright impossible with the laws of our universe. With that out of the way, let's get started with Reality 1. Reality 1 consists of a singular rocky planet with a size, core, and magnetic field similar to Earth's. There are some major differences, one of which being the planet's home star. It actually isn't a star at all, even by simulation standards. It is a colossal focal point of light that points at the planet, illuminating it like a star. Basically, it is a massive lamp that moves. This quote-unquote lamp produces much less radiation than a star, but emits a lot more light and, more importantly, a lot more heat. The planet itself is also very interesting, as the atmosphere is very rich in carbon dioxide and oxygen. Also, since the massive global ocean has a high evaporation rate, thanks to the star's extreme heat, the air is very humid. Finally, this planet only has a single supercontinent, named Famara. Famara sits quietly around the equator, as the tectonic plates of the planet keep the continent relatively still. Famara is covered in rivers and lakes, but none so grand as the Lake Magistral. This is a massive freshwater lake, around the size of the United States, that sits in the center of Famara. Now that we know everything about the reality itself, time to move on to the species introduced here. Starting with Folium, the basic plant of the ecosystem. Like almost every other organism in Edenastra, Folium was not made by me, but rather by a talented artist called Bean Man the First. Go to his channel to support his series titled Speculative Biology Inside a McDonald's Cup, which is from where Folium comes. Folium, in their home project, are ungodly small. Taking into account they're the basic grass plant of an ecosystem that is literally inside a McDonald's cup from the 60s. So, for Reality 1, it has been resized to the size of a regular blade of grass. The reason it is a dark orange and not green like Earth plants is because it does not use chlorophyll. It uses a substance called photogears, which are just orange chlorophyll that interlock with each other. But where there are plants, there must be herbivores, and thus the pinwheel was introduced. Pinwheels come from the speculative evolution project of Altamira, said project being made by Simon Roy. Again, go support his work. While in the original project there exists many species of pinwheels, this one could be classified as a generalist low-level plant decomposer, which eats decaying plant matter and recycles the nutrients back into the soil. Think of a forest beetle. Aside from that, like most pinwheels, it has radial symmetry, with this species in particular having 4 sets of legs, 8 eyes, and 4 mouths, thus making it almost impossible to sneak up on. But that was a rather tiny herbivore, so time to bring out the big guns with the herbomon. Before you say anything, yes, that creature is technically related to humans and is in fact a future descendant. And that strange thing on its back is not what you think it is. It is a tail, like those seen in other mammals. The herbomon has lost all human intelligence for unknown reasons and has basically turned into a hominid sheep, and now feeds on fields of folium to sustain itself as it wanders around on all 4 of its legs. Also, this was one of the very few organisms to actually be made by me. It comes from a post-human evolution project I never released. Now it is time to add the more advanced organisms, starting with Reality 1's main tree-like plant, the megacherry. This bizarre tree comes from planet Flora, and if you're wondering what that is, it's one of the planets featured in the cluster, a speculative biology project made by Veldhuizen. The megacherry is a large, branchless, and leafless tree that photosynthesizes through its stem. Its main defining factor is that when it's ready to reproduce, it generates a massive fruit around the size of a flat-screen television that falls to the ground. Said fruit is full of seeds that germinate into new megacherries. But since we have a few plants and herbivores now, time to add the carnivores. starting with the crazy strange banded suckerlump. This animal comes from another project called Amphitera, where amphibians outcompete dinosaurs. Said project is made by Roxy Valdez. The suckerlump looks too strange to even be able to live. Yet, like the earth flatfish, it's perfectly adapted for its lifestyle. On adulthood, it roots itself onto a tree trunk or branch like an amphibious barnacle, and waits for insects to come in range of its projectile tongue. And finally, let's end the introductory phase with an apex predator, none other than the green lizard. This organism very clearly comes from the ecosystem survival game, Rain World. Said game being made by Videocult. One small thing to note, the artwork for the specimen is inspired by the fan art of someone else, but I do not remember who it was. If anyone knows, please let me know, so I may credit them later. Anyways, this giant reptile hunts by ambushing, since it is quite slow, and goes for the kill using the extremely strong jaws it has. It has a bite force similar to that of a Nile crocodile, which has a bite force similar to an industrial pressure washer. The creature's head is also heavily armored, as it often fights with members of its own kind for territory, food, and even mates. And that is all for the introductory organisms. But before we say goodbye, time for the sneak peek creature, where I will show you an evolved creature with no context from the next episode, and you'll have to predict the things about said future episode. And here it is. It's very clearly a pinwheel descendant. Comment your thoughts below. And that concludes the first episode of Edenastra. See you later.